Today's episode is sponsored by Unpacking Just to Repack Everything. Is he that great of a chef that he didn't have to cook for me? F you, Bobby Flay. Chelsea Handler on going on a bad date with Bobby Flay. Insert theme song here. This is the Daily Sarcast. I give you the news and maybe a laugh. I'm Lindsey Vernick, and it's June 1st, 2026. God, it feels like forever since I've done a Sarcast, but it's only been pretty much the regular amount of time. But has it been though? I don't even remember. Today is Monday, right? I can't even keep track of the days anymore. But happy June 1st. Happy Rent Day. And oh my God, it's June. Yay, it's summer. And also, because I always forget to say this, please feel free to send this to somebody that you think might enjoy it. Thank you to my friends who share this, especially Emily, always posts this on her story. I really appreciate it. But anyway, to help me share this podcast would be awesome. In real news, Trump is going around the White House right now asking whether people prefer Vice President J.D. Vance or Secretary of State Marco Rubio as the future leader of the Republican Party. Apparently, Trump has been questioning whether Vance has what it takes to carry on the MAGA movement, while also complimenting Rubio's performance and openly polling people about which one they like better. Imagine being the vice president and finding out your performance review is happening like a middle school student council election. Trump has criticized Vance for everything, from his stance in Iran to taking vacations, and even keeps bringing up the time that Vance dropped Ohio State's national championships trophy. So the vice president of the United States is still hearing about that one embarrassing thing he did at a party. The good news is that the 2028 election is still years away. The bad news is that the 2028 election is still years away. Mount Everest just had one of its busiest weeks in history. More than 500 climbers reached the summit in just a few days, including a record 274 people in a single day from the Nepal side of the mountain. I guess the Nepal side is very hard. What's so surprising about all of this is that nobody died. That's really big because Everest has become so crowded recently that photos of climbers standing in traffic jams near the summit have become almost as famous as the mountain itself. Despite hundreds of people making the climb, guides reported that there were no major injuries and no deaths, which is super crazy because there always is. Among all the climbers making history was a woman who became the first Afghan woman to reach the summit, a double-leg amputee who climbed the mountain without prosthetics, literally just by using his arms and torso. If you look at the pictures online, it's literally insane. That's so crazy. He can do that, which makes me believe that I can probably get to the gym today. And there was a Sherpa who climbed Everest for the 32nd time, because obviously 31 times isn't enough. And for the last story today, I debated on telling this one, but it's been on my mind all weekend. It's just one of those big headlines that just is so horrific that you just can't stop thinking about. So I just figured I might as well share this. So this past weekend, there was a bus going from New York to North Carolina, and they were traveling in the middle of the night. And it was this guy who barely spoke any English. I think he's 48 years old. Anyway, there were signs to say, slow down. There was a construction zone coming up, and he didn't, and he hit a bunch of cars. And unfortunately, he killed a young family of 4 and a 25-year-old girl. I know, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to ruin your Monday. It's just so horrible and just one of the big headlines this past weekend. So now investigators are looking into whether the driver was super tired or was impaired or there was something wrong with him medically or literally anything else going on to why this happened. The National Transportation Safety Board has launched an investigation, and it's going to review the driver's actions in the 72 hours leading up to the collision. And he has already been charged with 2 counts right now of involuntary manslaughter, but apparently they're expecting a lot more charges to come soon. Also, I don't know if it's just me, but I'm just now realizing that a lot of people in New York who drive for Uber or any public transportation, these buses, they don't speak English. But I just went on a bus the other day from Philadelphia to New York, and the driver did not speak English at all. And even when I got in an Uber yesterday, he showed me the screen with my name on it, and couldn't even say, "Is this you?" He was like tapping the phone. And I'm like, how can you not, that's scary for someone to not be speaking English and driving a car, right? Okay, anyway, moving on in Lindsey life. Okay, so a bunch of stuff happened the past week when I was in Miami, and I'll share it over the course of this upcoming week. But one thing that happened that really, really bothered me. So I'm in Miami this past week for work, right? And we're sitting at lunch and with the crew, and we all ordered dessert. I was so full and didn't want anything, but it literally just so happened that an extra flan came and everyone was like, "Lindsey, you better have it." And I was like, "Okay, whatever." So I'm like kind of slowly eating it. And one of the camera guys is sitting across the table from me. And I think we've had a total of like 5 conversations. Like we've never gotten anything personal. Like we're not friends. So we're like mid dessert, and the camera guy across from me, he finishes dessert. And before I could process what was happening, this man does not say a word to me, takes his spoon and reaches over and takes a bite of my flan, and then puts the spoon down, gets up, and like walks away. And I just look around to see if anybody's noticing, and nobody notices. Everyone's like on their phone or in conversation. Like nobody just watched this guy just take a bite of my flan without asking is like the craziest part. Like if he would have asked, I would have been like, sure, I guess. But like, how do you just not ask someone that you're not friends with and take a bite of their food? Anyway, so yesterday I go to improv and I go up for a scene, and I just started yelling at my scene partner for taking a bite of my flan without asking me because we're coworkers. And everyone's cracking up, and I tell them after, I was like, wow, that felt so good. I was really angry about this whole situation. And everyone was like, wait, what? That was real? That was a real thing that happened to you? And I was like, yeah, most of the things that happen in this classroom that I talk about, yeah, that actually has happened to me in real life. Thing of the week this week is sports. So the Knicks are in the NBA finals for the first time in like forever, and it's a really big deal. So they killed Cleveland in the Eastern Conference Finals, and now they're going to play San Antonio in Game 1 on Wednesday night. I don't know anything about sports, but apparently this is a matchup that nobody could have ever predicted. New Yorkers are already preparing accordingly by pretending that they've always believed in this team and immediately putting on all of their Knicks gear and wearing it around, and Googling the price of finals tickets before having a major heart attack. Meanwhile, the World Cup starts in less than 2 weeks, and Iran's national soccer team still doesn't know if they're getting into the United States or not. The team is currently training in Turkey while waiting for their visas. Their training base was moved from Arizona to Mexico, and the plan is to fly into the U.S. for games and then immediately head back to Mexico afterwards. This is the first time in World Cup history that a host nation has been at war with a qualified participant, which is politically called a diplomatic challenge and what the rest of us call an absolutely insane situation. At this point, Iran isn't even trying to advance out of the group stage. They're just trying to advance through customs. So between the Knicks making the finals and a World Cup team potentially commuting internationally between games, sports have officially entered their written by a sleep-deprived television producer era, like me. Cooking tip of the day. Don't take it for granted when you're able to. Feedback, comments, questions, a nice Jewish boy looking for a date, email me at Lindsey@thedailysarcast.com. Thanks so much for listening. Talk to you guys tomorrow.